What's going on, fellas? We're going to jump right into 3x1 versus cover 6 and talk a little bit about that. Now, I feel like 3x1 is pretty much the reason why a lot of teams that play quarters even started doing cover 6. When you have that dominant backside XY receiver, that solo receiver, you know, the Randy Moss types, the Calvin Johnson types back in the 2000s, late 90s, right? You know, those guys really are hard to stop, and double teaming them by playing cover 2 is fine. It works. You get a guy who can potentially be underneath him, a corner, and a safety over the top. But then the whole defense is playing cover 2, you know, on the opposite side too. You may not want that. So cover 6 being that quarter, half, and that half being to the weak side of the passing strength will basically give you a double team, as we would say, or at least 2 players covering one, right? So it'll make it hard for him to run those individual concepts like comebacks, curls, outs, even go routes, right? Now, I'll talk about at the end of this video some adjustments that I'll start making in cover 6 to make it like play like 2-man. So wait to the end if you want to hear about that. But let's just go through it, and let's talk a little bit more about the front side of this defense, because this is what really changes versus 3x1. All right. So I'm going to come out here. I'm going to make sure I'm in match coverage. And I'm just going to go into concepts and just get myself a cover 6. I'll go with cover 6 nickel wide. We'll see what that's all about. And we're going to come out and what? 4 verticals. You guys are probably bored of it by now, but we'll do 4 verticals as we always do as the demonstration play. All right. Let me just find one. All right, here we go. So 3x1, 4 verticals. Passing strength is to the right of field, right of screen. So now we have our quarter side to that side. However, the rules are, anytime you get 3x1 and you're calling cover 6, the defense does not play quarters, they play palms. I'll say that again. When you call cover 6 versus a 3x1 set, all right, and even an empty set, 3x2, all right, anytime you get 3 receivers to one side of the field, you're going to get palms check to that side of the field. Why? Because what happens in quarters? You guys understand this. Quarters, you get the backside safety coming over, right? He's going to look for vertical of 3 to the strong side. But as soon as you're playing cover 6, you don't have this guy, because this player on the backside is playing what? Deep half. So in order to be able to do that, now you have to play palms to this side of the field, all right? Palms, you guys go back and watch the palms video, or versus basically quarters. I think I actually did, I did a video called palms, right? So palms coverage, all right, and how it works versus 3x2, 3x1. This is what you're going to get to this side. So I won't repeat that too much, all right? On the back side right now, like I had told you in cover 6, you're going to get yourself a squat corner, right? What type of corner is it here? It's a soft squat corner. So that means that if number 1 goes vertical and there's no threat of anybody coming to the flat, he will match that guy. So let's take a look at it. Let's just try to run it once, and let's just take a look at it. All right, so on the right hand side, you see the palms in action, right? Like I said, go back and watch the palms videos, but this is your palms player, right? Him and the safety. Nickels king 2 to 3. All right, if both 2 and 3 go vertical, he needs to match 2, which means he will take him on a vertical route. Safety's king 3 to 2. If both 2 and 3 are vertical, he's going to match 3. If any of these players, 2 or 3, does not go vertical, the safety will just take the vertical of the opposite player if it goes deep. And the nickel corner will just turn back into his quarter flat alignment. All right, so he becomes a flat defender again. So just understand that. We love that. Understand that the nickel has to be fast, because the way his technique is here, the way he backs out, it's really slow. So sometimes a good fast receiver will get over the top of him. That's why a lot of times when I play this defense, I back the nickel off. The middle linebacker here, right? His normal job is to wall in regular palms, but in this case he doesn't have to wall, because he knows that he has a vertical hook player here that is going to be playing the hook zone, All right. So the only thing you do have to watch for, I hate to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up now, is if 2 does go vertical for some reason or runs a wheel, then you need to go back into your wall mentality. All right. And that's because you have over here a soft squat corner, who right now there's no threat to the flat, so he matches 1. If there was a threat to the flat, he would become a zone defender. And we'll take a look at that right now. All right, so let's go through some different routes. Let's just put this guy in the flat, see what happens. All right, and you probably see there how the corner came off. So when you play that soft squat corner, you know, just be ready that some people are keying that. Some people on offense are looking at that corner, and they can just throw the ball in there right now, especially with free-form passing, and lead it to the outside. But that corner sees somebody coming to the flat right now, he takes it. Let's see if it's a check release to the flat. Let's see how quickly the corner, if he comes off quickly or not. Soft squat here. He comes off a little bit later, right? But at any time there's a threat to the flat, he will come back downhill. Let's go with, let's just take a look at the vertical route. Let me just give myself the hardest one. Let's see if the vertical hook player matches him. He does. Took forever for that guy to get through the line of scrimmage. He matches him. Let's see if the vertical hook player matches a wheel. And he does. All right, so that's there. So we're getting that type of look on the backside. If you really think that, you know, the X receiver is a guy that you really want to really double team and not really, you know, basically get, if he goes vertical, you're going to take your chances that nobody's going to the flat. All right, so let's talk about cloud, right? So now we're going back to true zone on the left-hand side with our corner, and a very high chance that your vertical hook player is going to be there as well. So why do I like this? Let's say a team wants to run shallow drive. Okay, they want to run drive. Took this play, audibled it. So now, from your standpoint, usually in Palm's coverage, you're thinking, I have to wall any type of crossing route coming from right to left, right? If you see that the running back is coming to your side, you and this vertical hook player would switch. Or if it was Palm's, he'd be a quarter flat defender, right? But now that we're in cover 6, you have no worries about anybody coming from the right side of screen into the zone side on the left side of screen. You're good money. So if that's the case, we're going to just back up, play here, and then we'll react late to this guy who's going across. All right. I'm not quite sure why the nickel squeezed that. Let me see what happened there. Yeah, that's the one thing about the Palms nickel. Sometimes they're all over the place. I mean, I kind of love what he's doing. If he just stayed on that guy, I can live with that. It kind of turns a little bit into a bastardized version of what you should do when 3's away. But right now, 3's vertical. If 3 was to run an out route, you know, we'd be in trouble. But anyway, just taking a look at this, we'll see if it happens again. Sometimes in practice mode, you get the funky reactions, you know. All right, so let me just do this again. I'm going to make this play up. All right. I'm actually going to put the running back to check through right now. I don't want him to wait. All right, so we got Palms. Let me get myself my corner and put him in cloud. All right, let's go. Let me get off the linebacker. I just want to see how he plays it, how the computer plays it. All right, so very busy there, into traffic. Not the best spacing on that play. Usually when you get drive, you want 2 and 3 to be a little closer. But right now, we have, I want to see that shallow route got bumped a little bit. He's going right into the hook zone area. So we're in good shape there, right? So this is better than if you were playing Palms versus this route. You get a little bit more of that zone mixture in there. Okay, this is what I was talking about. If you guys want to see these routes, this is where the nickel needs to become a quarter flat defender there. Make sure that's one of your better players. I wonder if I backed him off, would he read this a little cleaner? All right. But anyway, he should go. Look, nickel really should be sitting here, right here, waiting for any type of out from 3. You know, I'm not going to say he's going to play any comebacks of 1, but a curl, he should be in this window right here. You know, that's his responsibility. Then we have our middle linebacker. That would be me. Right off the jump, I'm thinking I want to back up. Like I had told you in 2x2, I'm playing with a little bit more depth, and I'm reacting down late, thinking that right now we should be in good shape. I'm not really worried about this running back coming across the field. And then the safety, right? He's going to play the vertical of 2 and 3. He's reading 3 first. 3 is past 10 yards, so he's going to drive that, come downhill. Our deep safety on the backside is playing half field. He's going to get a little bit more width in his back pedal because there's no threat from number 2. And that's going to put him out there, bottom of the numbers, in better position to be able to take care of a potential go route, which is what we get there. And our corner, playing cloud flat, he gets hands on 1, sinks back to about 15 yards. You know, I just wish sometimes that the actual flat defender would actually really just dominate this and push the guy inside. And I think you might be able to get better reaction if you do press the guy. All right, so we'll kind of mess with that. Let me know what you think about that. Maybe that's something that I should be doing myself, but I don't do right now. So we did spread 3x1. Let me take a look. Let me see how Palms is playing the shock option play. This is just me taking a look at this because this is going to be, I'm sorry, cover 6, which is Palms to the right of screen. I want to see if the shock option play kind of still breaks the coverage. It used to break it in the years in the past. I'm going to back up my nickel, which is what I like. That's how I like to play it. I want to see how this plays out right now. So we're kind of talking about Palms right here, but all right. So they kind of overcompensated in the game, and they made sure that both the safety and the nickel takes care of number 2 vertical. So again, what happens here is the nickel's reading 2 and 3. If both go vertical, then he needs to stay on 2. So the fact that he's running inside right now, I never understood why they make his footwork that way. I'm talking about the nickel. You know, why are they making him run inside, right? But anyway, 2 goes vertical. 3 does not go vertical. Technically, he should just be a quarter flat defender. And this is how he used to always play it. And then the safety, who's reading 3 and 2, right? He should be in a slow walk right here and see that 2's running that fade route, and he should get out towards number 2, which is what he does. But again, the poor footwork from the safety and the nickel just puts him out of position, makes it really tough. Makes it so that you have to have really fast players. And now, you know, they have 2 guys covering this guy. You don't need 2 guys covering 1 guy vertical. I know he's running a really tough route, but you don't need that. Now, I did say this was a mod corner, so I'm going to have to make a correction on that. This is a Meg corner. That is my fault. He is taking care of any route that's short. Meg means man everywhere he goes. So if number 1 runs a hitch like this, then he takes him. If he runs it out, he got him. If he runs a slant, he got him. Any route known to man, he's taking him. He's just taking it from depth. All right, so that's my fault. That's a correction. All right, so anyway, now with the middle linebacker here, this is why I use him. There's no reason for him to go anywhere besides sit right inside of 3, right? Looking to see if anybody's going to run anything inside. And when this play happens, this is basically a version of stick. Go get it, right? Go get that play. The only thing you got to worry about is stick nod. All right, but that's your job. Now over here on the backside, we're getting just an option route, so this guy works out. All right, but we're pretty good there overall. I would still use cloud over squat unless you really want to take care of the backside. All right, let's take a look to see if there's any other problem routes versus this. Again, I'm trying to focus a little bit more on these shallow crosses that have been whooping my butt, to be honest with you. Let's take a look at, I don't really see a whole lot of this, but let's take a look at, I'll take a look at the wide drag at the bottom. Oops, somebody called the wrong defense. I'm a 3-down defense, still giving me the same thing. It's fine. We'll go with the backside guy playing cloud, and I'm over here, right? So again, it's going to be the computer right now, but I would be over there. I'm going to back up my nickel. Just give himself a little more room to read it out, and let's just see what happens. We get a shallow route here. Just want to see how it's covered. Should be contested at least. You know, the vertical hook player has he's in a little bit of a bind, right? Because he has a deep route behind him, so he can't really react down too soon. I mean, he didn't even react back at all, so that's not that great. All right, that's not that great by him. Not sure what's going on. But this route is open here, and a lot of people are going to definitely take that route. So again, when I'm playing with the backer here, all right, I'm not getting 2 and 3 vertical. Just know that. So obviously 3's down. So that vertical route of 2 is going to be handled by the nickel and by the strong safety. So I'm going to back up and play with more depth and try to get in this window a little bit and read it out. If they want to throw the check down, let them. And again, I don't like how we're getting this type of stuff here. This doesn't make any sense. I'm going to get into some palm stuff and some quarters solutions to some of this stuff later. Please look out for that video. I'm going to try to do that this week because some of this stuff is not reliable with the palms. And I know it's a great coverage. A lot of people live and die by it, but you're going to die by it probably at the wrong time. And we need to have some solutions that we can make this a better coverage for us sim players, okay? All right, so let's see if there's any bunch patterns, because bunch is not going to be anything different than if you watch the 3x1 bunch tape. Remember, bunch is any type of formation that has 3 receivers within 5 yards of each other. All right, so just traditional bunch. And let's take a look at a play that people like to run a lot. Actually, I'll just do 4 verticals to start, because that's one of the harder ones. On the right hand side, we get our quarters coverage, right? Again, it's versus 3 receivers, so they're playing palms to the right hand side, but the check that overrides palms is box. So you get your box check, all right? So right now you have the 2 high parts of your box is your strong safety in your corner. They're playing first vertical outside, first vertical inside. Then you have your outside, you have your quarter flat defender who's playing first to the flat. And then you have your 3 receiver hook player, the one I would use there. You're taking the first underneath route inside and you're walling that, okay? Now, as long as you have your defense on the backside and a cloud flat, then now you don't have to wall it. And this is where the wall is off. You can let shallows go by, okay? So that kind of allows you to play with a little bit more presence over here to the strong side. And also, again, the vertical hook, the chance of him actually having to run with 2 vertical is very, very, very low. So you don't have to really worry about that. So this is, again, a good job for that. Now, against the vertical play, this is one of the tougher plays in the game. All right, 1 stays 1, which hardly ever happens in the NFL. So Williams is running that kind of wheel go route. And I'm pretty sure that the flat defender sees that in this game and runs with it. Let's take a look. Right, and you have to get in this window and help out there for that throw. So, as you know, this is a popular play that people are going to try to take away. That they're going to try to throw the ball outside the 1 right now if it's there. So box does a nice job versus that. You just have to take away this window right here. And then if that guy continues to go vertical, the corner sees that as his first outside vertical. All right, so remember I said the corner has the first vertical outside, the first outside vertical, meaning that if 2 receivers go down the field, he's going to take the one closest to him on the outside. If only 1 receiver goes down the field, he's going to take the break if it goes outside. And when I say down the field, off the line of scrimmage, running straight down the field, off the line of scrimmage. And the safety will take the inside breaker, okay? But in this case, if anybody ever goes to the flat, the deep guys don't respond to that. That's not their responsibility. So that right now is a flat route by number 1, which hardly ever happens in the NFL. But, you know, this could be a rule breaker in the NFL as well. But the flat defender, they did a nice job of programming this year. He goes and takes that guy to flat, and then he stays with them. That's the rule too. If you ever are a flat defender and match coverage, quarters coverage, or even seam coverage, 3 seam, anytime you are a flat defender, as soon as you get your guy going to a flat, you buy him. So if it's a double move, you have to stay with them. And technically, this is kind of like a double move. Goes to the flat, goes vertical, you buy him, you stay him, you match him, he's your guy, okay? You don't let him go. This player here is not really a flat route, right? He kind of just runs a little bit of an outside release, seam vertical. So that's why the corner takes it. And then now your inside safety, right? So you got 1 vertical here. It's pretty much like a switch verticals. He takes the first vertical inside. That's him on that little deep over route. And we're good money. So they did a good job on box this year. I give them props. I know this is not a box film, but this is still what's happening in this defense, all right? So we're good there. Now, the only thing I will say is that because we don't have, we have a player coming from the zone side and he's coming into the match side, you have to have awareness of this, all right? You have to get in this window as a middle linebacker and then be able to make a tackle on that if that happens to you, all right? All right, so because those guys are zone defenders unless they get verticals. Now, let's go with, let's see what we have here on audibles. Let's go with mesh. Let's just start with the hardest one, right? All right, so again, I'm going to play cloud flat over here. We're not going to worry about this guy so much, but the X is going to come across and make this a little bit of a harder play. But from the right-hand side of the screen, I'm playing with the middle backer. I know that I don't have to worry about St. Brown going across the field, so I can kind of just sit in my zone. This should be pretty good. The nickel should take the guy to the flat, the tight end, and the corner should take this corner route by Williams. Safety might give him some help, but he can free up really and just help out. That's how I would teach it. So I'm here, right, and then I would take this route right here. And as you see, that zone side does a nice job just even getting in the windows of guys going across the field, even with a little bit of depth, because this right here was a little bit deeper than I thought. He's getting to like 10, almost 15 yards. But who's sitting there, right? He has to go past this window, and he has to go into a new window. And that's just asking for trouble, especially if you get pressure. So that's a really nice job, I think, by the defense. Like I had said, this is taking, traditional plays, 4-7-3, which means like a spot concept, is one of the most popular plays that you get out of bunch formations. This is not 4-7-3, but you're getting some sort of 7-3. So 7's a corner route, 3 is a quick out route. So I'm using some of my offensive language when I was a digit offensive coach. But you're getting that flat 7 combination, and versus that, box just eats it up. So the corners this year do a good job of just keeping leverage, all right? And the nickel does a nice job of working through and matching that guy right now to the flat. So that's a really good combination. That eats it up. All right, let's go to some empty stuff here. And let's talk about that. That's going to be kind of like the culmination of everything that we talked about in the past 2 tapes. So let's get into some of my empty stuff. All right. And let's just go, of course, with let's go with shallow cross. Gives us a little bit of best of both worlds. Cover 6, empty. We'll come out with nickel. Let's put a better athlete on the field. I'm going to go dime 2-3-6. All right, so what happens here is a safety comes in and plays the dime position. And I've seen this happen before. Hopefully it switches. Okay, let me make sure this is not really broken. It is broken. Wow. All right, we won't do dime 2-3-6. I guess for some reason the zones are flipped. That's kind of weird, right? Look at this. All right, if I base a line, what would happen? Okay, it actually does work if I base a line. I am not a base a line guy. Just know that. I think it's cheesy as hell. But I'm just going to do that just for the sake of this video. I don't want to have to go find another cover 6. So on the right of screen, we have 3 wide receivers, okay? We have 3 receivers spread out. One of them's a tight end, but that's still the 3 receiver side. So over here, we're still playing palms on the right-hand side of the screen. Left-hand side of the screen, we're playing whatever type of cover 2 we want to play. All right, if you really feel worried that you're going to get beat with verticals, maybe you want to stay in the soft squat, right? If you feel like you're going to get some short routes and you want to get hands on number 1, I'm in base line, sorry about that. So, hopefully he still puts hands on them from here. Then you can play cloud flat, right? Now here's a higher chance that your vertical hook player is going to be gone. There's a higher chance he's going to get a vertical route. The one thing that they do a really good job, the computer, is kind of like letting you know if it's going to be vertical, because even if he hits 10 yards and it's not, and like the computer knows it's going to be like a dig or a corner, he doesn't run with them, which is a big clue if you're playing with one of the deep guys. Like, hey, that's not a vertical, but that's kind of neither here nor there, as they say, right? So let's just go through this play. I'm gonna let the computer handle it and see what happens. There we go. All right. I see some people doing some crazy stuff on the field. Unfortunately, that's what we got to clean up here. We want to play some sim ball defense, but we got to take care of all the craziness that happens. All right, so let's just go through from right to left. We have ourselves a Meg corner taking care of number one. Nice job. Then we have over here our nickel reading 2 and 3. So 3's away. He should just turn back into a quarter flat defender. The safety, again, don't like the footwork, but at least he does get back to his vertical threat of 2. There's no threat of 3. So essentially it's like he turns into quarters, that's what happens here. And this is the player that I said was running around and doing crazy stuff. Now I've actually I've put Ramsey here when I'm using my Rams team and my CFM, online CFM. And he's done stuff like this and he's made interceptions. And I thought maybe it's because he was smart. I'm starting to realize it's just bugged out nickel coverage. And that's what we need to fix in this game. Anyway, I don't want to have to use him, I really don't, but I'm wondering if that might be the smart way to go. Now, again, if I'm playing with this middle backer here, right, and I'm playing that 3 receiver hook, I can let that guy go, which is going to give me a nice presence here on this dig route that's coming from number 2. And like I had talked about, the vertical hook player really gives you a nice indication that this guy is not going vertical. I mean, he gets a lot of depth, so it's kind of hard to tell, but he doesn't run with them. So most likely he's working outer end. And then he should be able to, him and the corner, him as in the vertical hook player, should be able to take care of this crossing route, this shallow route coming back. Remember I had talked about in the first tape, a good corner, right, was going to take care of this outside vertical route a little bit better with his body. So he's at 5 yards, he's at 10, he's at 15. He's not breaking down on this route coming across because the ball's not even, it's not being thrown there. So that's a really good job by the corner on that play. But you see how it gives you a little bit of flexibility there, and that's what you're getting versus 3x2. You're getting on the right-hand side of the screen, let me give you a play instead of that bad art. Let me give you a different, just normal nickel play. You're getting 3x1 checks with the palms on the right-hand side of the screen, and then you are getting your cover 2 away from it. Make sense? So, if I'm doing it right here, again, I like to play the cloud. I'm going to go with this and just see what's up. 3 goes in. I'm good. I should be able to sit right there on 2. Okay? And if people are trying to throw that route, they might throw it right into right to me. Okay? Again, the nickel is just out of whack right now. He really needs to play a lot better than this. But I'll probably sit right here, and then I'll be able to sit there. The nickel's not wrong to squeeze that, but if 3 works out, the nickel shouldn't be doing that. Let me just see what happens if 3 does work out. Let me put him on an out route. Let me see if the game cheats a little bit. Because sometimes the game be cheating. Is he not going to go inside? So he works back out to his flat responsibility, but he's still not in good position for it. He kind of has to man turn on it. Let's take a look at the replay, what I'm talking about with the nickel. The nickel works in and then works out. So, but if this was regular, if this is the way it was lined up and we got this route, he has another responsibility that he is taught, where if 3 runs a route that is short and to the inside, all right, and 2 does the same thing like this, normally he would just let 2 go. But in this instance, really for this route combination that was so popular in the NFL throughout especially the 80s, 90s, even till today, right? You need to lock down and match this guy on this route. Why? Because your middle linebacker, your 3 receiver hook player is going to match 3. And if you just let this go, right, you would be in a hell of a world. Like it would just be open. You see what I'm saying? So, not to confuse anybody, I think that's what's going on with the programming, is that they actually did program this. I talked about this last year. They program it so that this player can also help out on 2 working inside on a short route. But that really does mess up a lot of his technique, where if number 3 works outside, he's in bad shape, right? So, or if 2 just runs a damn streak, he's jumping in and not just playing with a little bit of softness, right? A little bit of a controlled tempo back pedal or just shuffle, okay? So let's just end it there for that. Any type of other formations you would get, we would get all the checks that you would get in 3x1, so bunch. If we got an empty set where the right hand side of the screen is in a bunch, they would play box. On the left hand side, If we got a stack set, um, they would play the correction I made in the first video. The outside corner would just always play cloud flat, and the inside vertical hook player will still read 2, and if 2 goes vertical, he will match it. So just want to go there. Bonus. Let's go back to 3x1 or 2x2. It doesn't matter, right? Bonus. Let's stick in the 3x1 family for now. The Fangio defense in general, and when I was working for different guys from Rex Ryan to all the way to Wade Phillips. You know, when you are a team that plays a lot of man defense like those teams do, you can get in and out of basically calling any type of split safety coverage you have. So there's quarters, there's palms, there's cover 2. Anytime you have those in your system and you're a matching team, you are allowed to check the players. Sometimes will tell, you know, the coaches will give the players direction, but depending versus certain formations, because you know in the NFL you don't know what formation you're going to get. It's not like Madden where you know the formation, but you can actually check in and out of man coverage. So I've talked about this in the quarters video. When I have stacks, I like to play like a 2-man to the stack receiver side away from the running back. Here you can play 2-man over here to the quarters, to the half field side, right? I mean, again, guys can do it faster than I can. You don't have to click on every player like I am, but you can do this and just play 2-man, right? You just have to know that now if you're using the 3 receiver hook player, you have to now wall everybody. So you pretty much put yourself back in the same rules that you had when you were, you have to wall anybody from the right side of the screen coming over into the man side of the screen, okay? So you're basically back in your base rules if you were calling palms or whatever. So just understand that, but you can get away with doing this and you really get now focused coverage, underneath coverage really, on your players. The one thing I will say is if you want to really mess with any shades or anything, make sure you do an individual shade on each guy. Like if I want to really press this guy, right, or if I want to play inside leverage, right, make sure you go through your individual coverage and do just the shading that you want for that one player. Do not get caught up in doing overall coverage adjustments underneath, inside, over the top, whatever, because what happens if you do that is that you change your quarter flat defender as well. So if I was to do like, I want underneath coverage because I want this 2-man side to do a good job, the quarter flat defender becomes a hard flat, as you see, and that's what happens. Just the underneath guys change their technique, but these guys back here are still playing match. So what will happen is you get a lot of bust and people don't understand why. If we just got 4 verticals right now, right, and you did the underneath adjustment because you wanted to get hard body underneath coverage on the left side of the screen, well, now you just probably gave up a touchdown because your nickel is not in palms. He's now playing hard flat, and there's nobody to cover number 2 vertical when 2 and 3 go vertical. So just recognize that, but you can get in and out of some nice little packages on your weak side of cover 6 and playing 2-man. So let me just jump into, like, you know, spread set, right? And you know, you're kind of annoyed by what's going on the backside. It's a lot of let me get into a better play. Actually, let me give you a more realistic play. Let me jump out of this. Let's say you're getting a team that's, you know, doing a lot of flood combinations versus your cover 6, which I actually think cover 6 does a nice job. But for some reason, you know, let's say they're putting your corners getting eaten up by a back flaring out to the flat. Let me get my life together right here. Okay. I think I have, let me just see. Let me just go into concept, medium pass. Oh, yeah. What we got? What am I doing? Deep pass, flood. Want that weak side flood with the tight end. I know I have it in here somewhere. I guess not. All right. I'll makeshift it out of this. So we go cover 6 and we go wide, right? So if a team right now is playing you, they know you're playing a lot of cover 6 with a cloud flat corner. And there's lots of formations in the game where they get the back aligned on this side already, right? So this is actually not a bad play. I mean, cover 2 will probably play this pretty well. But if you know this is coming, oh, my fault. If you know this is coming and you know that you want to cover up all 3 of those eligible receivers that are going to get out, but you want to still play quarters to the other side for some reason, then I would just man up. Right, man coverage on him. I can do it with the corner there, right? And then I would just man up this guy here. So when the running back does move over, or when the running back aligns like this, because I'm just trying to get this play to be worked out, you know that as a linebacker here, you have to take the running back, right? You might have to move over. So now we got 2 man on this side, and we're just playing quarters on the other side. All right. Let me find out the nickel ran with number 2 working inside, because I just talked about this. I didn't know this was programmed in the game. Remember I said if 3's away and 2 works inside to lock him, right? He did it. They might have put that in the game. That's pretty good. Let me take a look at that one more time, because this is the problem that can happen. Let's say a team runs a slant route here, right? Boom. So we have our quarter side over here. Even if I don't play, if I just still play the way it's set up, even with soft squat, it doesn't matter. If I just play it like this, a lot of times this corner route would be, this slant route would get wide open. I'm not an expert with 2 controllers. Here we go. Okay, well, he still got open. He didn't really match it hard, but that's just something to think about. I'm going to get into my next video. I'm going to talk a little bit about some adjustments we can do with the nickel. If you guys, I really don't watch YouTube too much on guys who are not sim. I love watching my sim guys and guys who give great advice from a sim standpoint, real life coaching standpoint. But I did run into a video, I won't talk about it, there's I won't call it a glitch, but there's a way to get the nickel and quarters coverage, if you don't know, to really get messed up and not cover his assignment versus a certain particular play. And it made me start thinking about doing some things, okay, with the nickel. So I'm gonna make a video about that, maybe a way to kind of combat that and still be able to play our favorite coverage, quarters coverage match. Talk to y'all later, man. Peace. Any questions, comments, concerns, write them up. Peace.